Okay, so like here's how I think about it right now. The reason why more gold is bad is because the core heroes get to the critical mass too quickly, right? Like, if you see an Alk having a free farm game, that guy's gonna have Radiance, BKB, Blink Dagger, AC, like, minute 20, you know? There is no amount of itemization that you're gonna be able to do as a losing team against that hero to be able to stop it. You just simply won't be able to, you know? You might have, like, a forest staff or two on your supports, you know, try to kite the BKB or whatever. But if you account for stuff like human error, you're just gonna feed, right? This is especially true for, like, the lower MMR brackets. And even with like another hero that isn't Alk, you know, some hero's gonna hit their 2 or 3 item timing on average in a good game literally minutes faster than they used to. Like 2 or 3 minutes faster. And if the person is having a bad game, like the net worth disparity is even bigger, right? So like the whole argument or counter argument to this point would be something like, hey, but everybody gets more gold, right? So surely that means that the guys who are, you know, having the bad games still have more than they would. That is true, but since there are more camps to farm and more space on the map for the guys who are winning, and they're the ones who control that space, the other guys don't decide where they get to go, so they waste time walking from place to place. You know, they have to relocate, they have to TP to get across the map if they're like in my shoes as the other one who's like on the losing team. I have to choose where I farm and do very inefficient patterns in order to not die, right? So yes, there's more stuff on the map, but they get to farm it as efficiently as they want, which makes the gold disparity even bigger than it was. When you don't have as much money on the map, that person's critical mass is slowed exponentially, and it's not as impactful for me to have to take a slightly less efficient farming route because I know that guy's timing isn't going to be, you know, 17 minutes and my fucking tier 3 is going to die. Like, I don't have to worry about that, right? So that's how I currently perceive the state of the game. It's just really, really hard to play in a match where you have lost a lane or two and you have no ability of really fighting, so you're forced to do like these really janky movements to try to recover, right? And again, I'm not doing it perfectly, obviously. Like, you can always have like a better game. Is there something balanced? Anything can be adjusted? Losing team, respawn buybacks? No, I think there just needs to be less gold. Because, okay, here's the problem with making the comeback mechanics more extreme. You're owning the entire game. You're like 19-0. You die once, the game is like even. That just feels like shit for the guy who's owning, right? So by having less gold on the map in general, like less gold from neutrals, less gold from lane creeps, less gold from kills, like, it means that the critical mass that the team is going to be hitting that they would normally hit right now is going to be delayed, which gives you more time to do stuff on the map, which is actually space for the losing team, you know? The more money that is available in the game, it gets exponentially worse for the losing side, especially when the lanes are as bad as they are right now. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Like, that's kind of the issue, is over the course of time, games have gotten more and more stompy because there is more gold. Like, more gold means that the team that is ahead is going to be even further ahead. The people who are losing don't get more from there being more gold on the map because they don't control any space. They control a very small amount of space, while 2 or 3 cores on the enemy team are getting a shit ton of farm because they're strong, their timing is sooner, and they can't be contested. Right? If you contest them, you just die. That's kind of how it works right now. You don't fight into the strong heroes. They just shit on you because they're that much more powerful than they used to be. That's probably also a problem with Turbo, is people just get way too jacked way too fast and you can't really do anything and then the game just ends. That's my assumption. I don't actually play Turbo, but that's what I think. But yeah, people think that having more money in this game is better, but it actually just makes the problem worse. It like exacerbates every issue of a team being behind to a very severe degree. So I'm really genuinely hoping that they just lower the amount of money that you get. Like, everything needs to be worth less. Creeps need to be worth less, kills need to be worth less, assist needs to be worth less. Like, With the amount of money that I've seen people have at 10 minutes in this game right now, there needs to be like a 30% or 40% gold cut across the board. Like, it is so insane how much money you get. I just don't think rubber band mechanics are the answer either. Rubber band mechanics just make it so, like, okay, so historically speaking, there have been patches where comeback kills were worth a shit ton, right? I remember specifically a few years ago, I played a game as a Bloodseeker. This is when they first introduced Blood Rite as a skill. And I died in the enemy well just for fun at the end of the game, because I was like, I don't know, 30-0. And I gave them, like, fucking 5,000 or 6,000 gold when I died. Now, this was the first iteration of that patch, but suffice to say, if that were to happen at any other point before their throne was about to explode, it would have had huge implications on the game. So I've played those patches, and I can tell you from personal experience, rubber band is not the answer. Because what happens in rubber band metas is people just sit on their high ground and wait for the enemy team to fuck up, and once they die, like, you know, 1 or 2 core heroes accidentally feed, the game just ends, right? So the first step that I think is a positive step is the map being bigger. It's just that if you make rubber band too severe, you're gonna cause people to turtle a lot, and then people are never gonna want to go high ground. And pro games are gonna get real fucking boring. But there needs to be incentive for the enemies to play the map when they're behind and not feel like they're just gonna get snuffed out of the game because they can't control space, you know? Which is why I think a global gold reduction would just be better. Because then, if you die randomly and you're the team that's behind, you don't really feel like you're giving up that much, and you know that you have more time, theoretically, to get to the items that you need for some heroes. So it doesn't feel as punishing to lose your lanes. Also, this has to be like one of the closest games I've seen on this patch so far. Also, is that other game? It's gotta be, right? Oh yeah, it's 7 minutes in. I mean, it's just my own personal thoughts. Like, obviously, I'm not a dev. I don't work for the team, but I can just tell you that I've played a bunch of different types of patches, and the most fun patches were the ones that were a little bit slower, you know? Because there was time. There was time to make moves, there was time to hit creeps, there was time to, like, do all these things that right now on a bigger map, you really want to do them. You want to be able to do them because there's so much shit that you can do, but the critical mass just hits way too soon. And then you just go, oh yeah, well, we can't because they have 1 billion gold in EXP. Rubber band tied to the jungle? No, you don't want that ever. I like that kills are worth a good amount. That's good. I like that they even made lane creeps and jungle creeps worth less money. I think that's also good. But like the generic level of all the incomes is just really fucking high, right? You can keep the ratios the same. Like, I'm fine with kills being worth the most and like lane creeps being second and jungle being last. I'm fine with that, like, gold hierarchy. It's just that there's too much of it in every single aspect. Well, I mean, historically, IceFrog has always leaned in the way of giving people more stuff because it makes sense, right? Like, more stuff should be more fun. But it's only more fun for the team that's winning the game. It's way less fun for the team that's losing because no matter how much you have, it's not enough. You know? You don't ever get to the point right now in this patch where it's enough. Like, that Jug game, I came back from a 2k net worth, like, minute 10 deficit to having basically the amount of net worth I would have in a normal game if my lane wasn't balls by 30 minutes. That's how long it took me to recover. Now, I did die once in that 30-minute time period. Once. I died once, and it took me 25 minutes to get my farm back. Now, you're asking, well, how did it take you that long to get that farm if you didn't die more than once? That's because we can't control the map. I don't get to just walk wherever I want and hit whatever I want. It doesn't work that way. So if it takes me that long, my throne's gonna explode. I'm not gonna be able to do the thing. My throne's gonna be dead, and that's what happened. My throne died before I was able to hit my critical mass. And by the way, when I did die that one time, I didn't just feed. I traded for one of their cores. So that wouldn't even be classified as, like, a bad death. It was only bad because we were losing the game prior to that fight. Wait, what? Does this make team composition even more important in pubs? Yeah, absolutely. Just pick strong heroes that lane well, and you'll just fucking steamroll every game.
5 seconds remaining.
Last game, the one that I was referring to when I was playing Jug, we had a mid Nyx, and he died 3 times to the Pango solo. Like, I'll say it like this. In any patch, that would have been really bad, right? But right now, it is just, he ruined the game. You know, you're not allowed to do that anymore. In the past, it would have been considered, okay, this guy's kind of feeding, whatever, maybe they can get some fights. Now it's, okay, you turbo fucked it. You might as well just sit in your base because you have ruined the game. That Pango was beyond farmed. Wait, hold on, I didn't read the other one. Rubber band idea, make enemy team's Tormentor worth a lot of gold if you're far enough behind. That won't do anything. Also, it's really, really hard to go for a Tormentor when you're the losing team. In fact, it's even more risky and stupid to go for it when you're behind because it also kills you while you're fighting it, so that wouldn't do anything. Hey, an Underlord and a Bat Rider and a Bounty Hunter. I've never seen these heroes before. Can technically play perfect and just lose by playing 2 off meta? Yeah. I don't really, again, I'm not saying I want all 120 plus heroes to be viable at all times, but this major has like the lowest amount of hero versatility that I've ever seen. Every single team is playing the same fucking heroes. All of them. There is no deviation. And the reason they're doing that is because the patch forces you to, because if you lose your lanes, the game is over. Dude, there's no way it was worse in the previous patch. There's 50 heroes picked at this major, or some shit like that. More than 10 times. I'm talking about, like, total amount of heroes picked more than 10 times. And, like, look at all these heroes, right? There isn't a hero in this game who is weak in the lane. Not even one. They're all strong. CM, crazy strong laner. TB, strong laner, transitions into jungle. Windranger, obviously strong laner. Underlord, strong laner against virtually everything that isn't MK or Ursa, which, by the way, they do have an MK. Veno, strong laner. MK, strong laner. Tinker, strong laner. Bounty Hunter, pretty strong laner. Bat Rider, extremely strong laner. Enchantress, one of the best laners in the game. All strong laners throughout the board. Not a single weak one. There is no plan for past 8 minutes. It's like, okay, there is technically. You buy the Crimson and the Pipe items on the hero that's supposed to buy them for your team. And then you win your lanes and the game plays itself. Same 10 heroes every time? Nah, I think you're not recollecting. You're not recalling it correctly. Like, yes, obviously there's always going to be trends. But the team that made all those heroes popular was Tundra, and they did it at TI, you know? Everyone was playing a bunch of different shit before that. Well, okay, everybody was playing Marcy, but then Tundra started doing their shit, and they won with it. And nobody could beat it. But yeah, that's, you know, that's my whole bit. Sorry, I didn't mean to rant. I just, like, I really want this patch to be good because I think it has a ton of potential, you know?